Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Two Big Guys on Cars. I'm Denver Wright.
And I'm Thomas the Thrill Hill.
And we have a great show in store for you today. Many things are coming your way, including car news. Also, we'll meet two brothers, the Lloyd brothers, and they have a fantastic story for you. We're going to cover that story over 2 episodes, today being part 1. Stick around for that. All of that and more is coming your way on this episode of Two Big Guys on Cars.
It's time. Wiz Pro Imagineering proudly presents Two Big Guys on Cars. Now, here are your hosts, Thomas Hill and Denver Wright. What's new in the world of cars? You're about to find out. This is Car News on Two Big Guys on Cars.
Muscle car purists, look away now. Ford's electric Mustang SUV is a thing. It's happening soon, and it has a name, Mach-E. We've known it's been happening for a while. We even saw a sketch of it last year. It'll be available to order online, and Ford's expecting something of a fistfight for the first edition model, which we expect to be bells and whistles special with the biggest, fanciest alloys. Reckon there'll be a rush to order them, a la original 60 Stang? Or is a simultaneous venture into the world of electric cars and SUVs too much at once for Ford's icon?
Meet the Etch-a-Sketch supercar, yours for upwards of $65,000. It's called the Zedra Motors Notorious. It reminds me of a song. And its makers offer almost unlimited customization options and designs. Like literally everything. Hell, if you don't like the body style, change it. Or you can have one designed of your own mind. Zedra will sit you down with their chief engineer and designer, who will draw you out something a little more to your taste. The actual body takes inspiration from multiple companies and brands that they really like. The base car gets a body made from fiberglass, while further up the Zedra food chain, you'll get a carbon fiber body. It's bolted over an Infiniti Q40 chassis and engine, complete with a twin-turbo V6 underneath.
It's the lightest McLaren road car ever, and seemingly Woking's tribute to the wealth of heroically stripped-out track specials Great Britain has a fine tradition of producing. The McLaren Elva is described as a ferociously fast open cockpit car and fits into the company's top-line Ultimate series, following in the footsteps of the P1, Senna, and sitting alongside the new Speedtail. While no actual curb weight has been announced, you can bet on something comfortably below the 1,198 kilograms claimed by the Senna. After all, there's no roof, windows, or widescreen here, while the doors are McLaren's smallest ever and are single hinged just for shaving even more grams. The tub is naturally carbon, but so every panel is too. You can wear a helmet, or you can specify windscreen, but McLaren suggests you'll need neither. The prosaically named Active Air Management System, AAMS, uses a movable carbon deflector to direct air from the Elva's nose and up through the front clam ahead of the occupants, projecting it over them, creating something less prosaically named a relative bubble of calm beneath. The system awakens as the car's speed increases, though if you're on track, and thus helmeted up, you can turn it off so that the air is sent to cool the engine instead. And what an engine! It's an 804 brake horsepower version of the 4.0-liter V8 twin-turbo you'll find in the 720S and Senna, but producing more power than either with much less weight to shift. So it hits 62 miles per hour in under 3 seconds and 124 miles per hour in frankly startling 6.7 seconds. About as quickly as the legendary old McLaren F1 hit 100 miles per hour.
Speaking of McLaren, they have announced a brand new car. Named quite apropos, it's called the McLaren GT. The McLaren GT is a special car on a special mission. It's not a hardcore sports car, but it's a true grand touring car, or so McLaren would have you believe. Some people don't see the car this way because it's mid-engine and because of the car's overall layout and design. But the guys at Carfection recently had the chance to get behind the wheel of the car, and they come away as seeing it as a true GT machine, and one that's different than other offerings from this company. According to Carfection, the GT is still a McLaren through and through. It looks the part. It has mid-engine design and all the styling elements that you would expect from the company. The car features a very McLaren interior too, though it's a bit more upscale than many of their other cars. This vehicle, in short, is a very special McLaren and a different McLaren. With the McLaren GT, the company's lineup becomes multifaceted and even more unique. The GT changes McLaren's recipe. Instead of the company dictating that the car be more sporty or track ready than it should be, it's a purpose-built machine, and a machine that's built for the road and gobbling up many miles at high speed.
The 2019 Acura RDX is all new and marks the third generation of this compact luxury SUV. Its automotive environment has changed drastically in the decades since the first version was introduced. Back then, it had only one notable rival, the BMW X3. Now it faces a dozen competitors that range from the Mercedes-Benz GLC, the Audi Q5, to the new Jaguar F-Pace and Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Despite the influx, the RDX stands out with its amenities. Practicality and the reliability inherent in Honda is apparent. Furthermore, this revamped RDX has come into its own with newfound style, athleticism, innovation, and stellar safety features. Unchanged is the value story. The 2019 Acura RDX is among the new vehicles that can make you feel self-indulgent, yet fiscally responsible.
Come ride along with two big guys on cars.
And welcome to another episode of Two Big Guys on Cars. I'm Thomas Hill, and today we have two special brothers with a very special story. Scott and Dave Lloyd, and I tell you, these two guys have something very unique that we don't find these days. You know, the world we live in today is a very complicated place. One of the things that we need more than anything else is togetherness, unity, and not only unity, but we need an opportunity to be able to have a purpose for what we do. These two brothers have come together on a level like many of us should, just through pure love and genuine concern and pride for one another and love for one another. Scott and Dave, welcome to Two Big Guys on Cars.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about where you guys got started, where you guys were born, and then as we finish talking about that, let's talk about some of the things that you're currently doing.
Excellent. Well, since I'm the older of the two, I was born first. We were both raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You know, insofar as our love of cars, we were blessed with a grandfather who had extraordinary mechanical acumen. He was a master mechanic for Gregory Poole, Caterpillar, and was always working on things and fixing things. There was really nothing mechanical he couldn't figure out. And we both had a lot of respect for that, and we learned a lot from him. And I'd say that relationship informed our love for all things mechanical. Model airplanes, cars, obviously, bicycles, lawnmowers, pretty much anything you could tinker with and would take gasoline or nitromethane we were interested in. So from an early age, we both had focused a lot on mechanical things, and then inevitably, when we turned 16, our love turned to cars.
Yeah. Scott, you know, you and I talked about previously, you know, the journey from, you know, as young men and you guys' passion for cars. But, you know, life is always ever evolving. So let's you know, Dave talked about his journey. Let's talk about your journey when it came to, when did you discover your passion for cars?
Well, it happened, my father had gone to rehab when I was 13. And it's a huge decision that he made to change his life, and he's been sober for 32 years, and we're so proud of him. Outstanding. And part of that, though, was when he came back, he wanted to connect with me, because we really, you know, to that point, hadn't had the connection that he had wanted to have. And how he chose to do that is we went out and we bought a 1974 Camaro. And we were going to build that together as kind of our project car, and we did. And you know, he took us to the drag strip, and first race I was ever in, my dad was driving at you know, at a drag strip, and in my car, and so we built that car together, and that just really built my love for cars again. And so you know, by the time I was 16, I was like my brother. You know, I was waking my parents up, you know, that morning to take me to the DMV to get my license, and the rest, as they say, is history. So
let's talk about. Let's bring it a little bit current. Life happens, as we often find out in many instances. Things evolve, things change. What has brought us to this point now where we're at now? Let's fast forward and bring it to 2019. Let's talk about why we're here and why we're at this moment sharing what we're sharing with the audience.
Well, 2017. I was actively working with my company, doing a lot of physical labor, began to experience some minor weakness in my right thumb. I assumed it to be carpal tunnel, overuse injury, the sort of normal thing, and I blew it off for months. Started having some other weird things happen, some cramping and some but all nuisance things that I just chalked up to getting older, you know, being dehydrated, a little too tired. But at a certain point, it became problematic enough with my hand that it was causing me to not be able to do my job so well. So I finally reached out to a doctor friend of ours, and long story short, a month and a half later, I was diagnosed with ALS, or motor neuron disease. A lot of people know it as Lou Gehrig's disease, but the bottom line is that, if you can believe it or not, in 2019, or back in 2017, there is no treatment and no cure. ALS is diagnosed through exclusion. There are lots of mimicking disorders that they test you for. So I went through an extraordinary battery of blood tests, spinal tests, MRIs, et cetera. And they inevitably came to me and said, we believe you have ALS, and you have 2 to 5 years to live. So get your affairs in order and figure out how to enjoy the days you have left, and that's that.
Well, Scott, when you received that news and when Dave shared it with you, how did it impact you?
I mean, obviously it's not what you want to hear. And this is where maybe some people might not be able to follow me on this one, and that's okay. But to be honest, I was never upset. And I was never upset because I genuinely believed that my brother's going to be healed. And I felt that way from day one. And I will stand in that until the Lord tells me otherwise, which means my brother's not here. But I firmly believe he'll be healed. But I, at the same time, took it very much as a wake-up call. My brother and I have always loved each other. But, we had let, work, kids, wife, just life get in the way. And hadn't spent as much time as we should have been. We had always had passions for cars, and that had completely gone to the back burner. And so we said that day, we need to go get some cars. It's time to, we talked about for years going to go race, and so that's what we did. We took it as that wake-up call, and that next February we got our first car to kind of start on our journey for racing for ALS.
Okay, let's talk about that first car. Gotta talk about that first car. We got to.
You want me to tell the story?
Go ahead, man.
I love this story. My brother said to me, we're getting a car, we're going to the track, we're making this happen, we're doing it. So we set about trying to find cars that we could fit into with helmets, which for two guys that are 6'4", 6'5" is not necessarily that easy. We inevitably determined that the most comfortable car to fit into was one of the larger super muscle cars that are available today, the Hellcat. And because of our Christian faith, we both had, and my brother more so than me, had a little bit of an issue with the whole demonic imagery and that sort of thing. Plus, there's something about barreling down a straightaway at 160 with Satan on your hood. I'm not down with that.
Yeah.
So my brother, we actually went and test drove a Hellcat one day together. And he said, I think this is the right move, but I've talked to the salesman and they have agreed to do a badge delete. So it'll be a Hellcat powertrain, but without the Hellcat logos.
Right.
And that was sort of the justification that Scott arrived to allow him to get past his, concern about the demonic involvement. And so we were in the dealership, and I was there with his daughter, and Scott was going to be purchasing the car, and we were going to share it. And he sat down to pick the interior color, and the guy spun his monitor around, and the first choice was demonic red. And my brother just popped up out of the chair and said, I'm sorry, this is not where I need to be sending my money. I've been conflicted about this from the beginning, and I apologize for wasting your time, but I think this is not the right car for me. And he got up and walked out and left his daughter and I sitting there with a sales guy.
I came back, I gave him $20.
Yes,
I covered his time.
And so we walked out of the dealership, which happened to be right next door to the Hendrick Chevrolet dealership here in Cary. And he said, let's go over there one more time and take a look at the ZL11LE, which we knew to be an extraordinary track car, but we thought would be too small. And we walked in the door, and the salesperson he had previously spoke to, our buddy Corey, ran up.
Actually, that's the first time I'd met him.
Oh, it was?
I had never met Corey before. I had talked to somebody else before. And I got to tell this part. I apologize.
Okay,
I got to tell this part. Because when we left, it was, and they were kind of looking at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, look, I know that there's something else. There's something else we're supposed to be doing. And so when we walked into Chevrolet, the ZL11LE, when we had been there before, it had been at the body shop getting fixed. So we're like, maybe we can sit in it. Maybe it's back. And I walked in and said, I want to sit in the ZL11LE. And the salesperson said exactly this. No, you don't. I've got the car you're supposed to have.
We'll be right back with Two Big Guys on Cars.
So you finally bought that dream car of yours, but you don't have any real way of testing the limits of this thing. You better not do it on the street or even on the interstate. The North Carolina Center for Automotive Research, better known as NC CAR, is located in Garysburg, North Carolina, just outside of Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina.
Discover why NC CAR is one of the premier automotive facilities in the Southeast.
On their 620-acre site, NC Car is home to a 2-mile bi-directional road course,
2-acre vehicle dynamics area,
and so much more.
It's available for you, the general public car guy or girl, to rent.
Bring your car to the track for a private session just for you and your buds to rent the whole place, or
rent it for an event for your entire organization.
The cost is way more reasonable than you may think, too.
And if you go through our website to book it, you'll get an even better deal.
Call our friend Sam at 252-308-2825.
That's 252-308-2825.
NC Car is the home track for two big guys on cars. Now check this out. This is the Two Big Guys on Cars official t-shirt. We wear them all the time. There's slightly different versions of them. If you see here, there's a 2 in front of it. On mine, there is no 2. But this was the first edition of the shirt. And this is the new edition. And it can be yours. First of all, you can go to our website, which is 2bigguys.com, and order the shirt. They're reasonably priced, and they're ready for you to purchase right now. Also, we have a very special promotion that's coming up where we'll be giving away these t-shirts to you if you just keep your eyes open. That's all I'll say about it for right now. But the Two Big Guys on Cars official t-shirt. Watch out for it and purchase yours today.
Now, back to Two Big Guys on Cars.
I'm here with Mike at Cars and Coffee down in Elon, North Carolina. Mike, man, this truck is nice. The Wrangler Unlimited. Tell us a little bit about this truck.
I actually just got it this summer. Picked it up with pretty much all the modifications already on it. Already had the lift kit on it, the 35s on it already, the bumpers, the winch, all that stuff. I've added a Diablo Sport tuner to it, and that seemed to really make a difference. Actually just got it yesterday, but it's made a huge difference in the shifting and everything with it. So just been enjoying it. Get the top off, get the doors off as much as I can. So love getting it out in the air. Used to drive motorcycles all the time, but I got too many kids to throw on a motorcycle now, so it's
absolutely
get them all in there, and they're loving it. So.
And you say you're a motorcycle lover, but I see that you've got great taste in trucks and cars as well. So let's talk about the story behind this truck. What is the story with this truck? Does it have to be something about this that attracted you to it?
Just been wanting a Jeep the last few years, like I said, to be able to get the top off and get the doors off, and actually bought a Jeep Compass almost 2 years ago, and did a little bit of off-roading with that, and kind of was like, oh, I got to do more of this, and then the kids love that, so they're like, just needed something bigger though that would actually have more clearance and all to be able to get off-road with it. So haven't gotten this one off-road yet, just because the rims that I've got on it right at the moment are a little too nice to be getting scratched up.
Yeah, so, I'd say so.
I ordered some steel rims and new tires the other day, and hopefully in the next week or two we'll be getting it out there.
Mike, thank you so much for sharing your Jeep with us, okay? Have a great day, man.
You too.
We're at Bethlehem Christian Church down in, let's see, is it Halifax County?
Yep.
Yeah, we're down in Halifax County. I mean, we just left Elon and we're with Drew. Drew, let's talk about this beautiful SS Camaro you have here.
Yeah, so I bought the Camaro as a 2018. I bought it last year in December. I drove a 4-cylinder Toyota Camry all my life, and I said, I got out of college, got a decent job. I said I need to establish some credit somehow, so I thought I'd do it the fun way. So, yeah, it's a silver 1SS 1LE. I haven't done anything to it other than I put a clear bra on the front bumper. I travel to work on the highway, so I wanted something to protect from rock chips and things like that, and just everyday wear and tear. So that's the only thing I've done on the car. It's got 2,900 miles on it, and so yeah, brought it down here today. I'm about 3 miles from here. This is my home church, so came down here and entered some money and see what I can get from it. But
okay. Besides the color of the car, what else about this Camaro that attracted you to it?
So, like I said, I went down. It was in Fuquay Arena at John Heister Chevrolet, and I was looking at, silver's my color, so I was looking at a silver LTZ 1500, and they had this as well. And I was down there, looked at the truck, test drove it, came over to this car, test drove it, and there's just no comparison. It's driving a 6-speed, you know, with the track package, the handling, suspension in sport mode or in track, and the sound from the exhaust. It was just by far a little bit more appealing to me personally, in my opinion, than that truck. So
Nothing like a man in this car.
yep. Supposed to be adjustable struts. The modes change your horsepower, your suspension, your exhaust. The MPP exhaust, it closes the valves in your exhaust. So I don't know. I can tell. You know, you can tell the exhaust obviously from listening to it. And if you put the seats down in the back, you get a little bit better rumble from it. But yeah, the suspension, it's about the same to me. It might be a little bit softer in tour. It might be a little bit more comfortable. But the only thing about this car is me and my girlfriend to go out of town, and the seats only lay back so far. So it's not made for long trips. If your girlfriend or wife wants to relax and put her feet up, you know, whatever, it's not that kind of car. It sits low to the ground, but the seats lean back maybe 30 degrees. So yeah, I'll be coming home from work on the highway, and I work in Durham, so it's about 40 miles from here where I live. And you know, you get behind somebody in the left lane doing the speed limit, you get aggravated, you've been at work all day, you hit the gas and go around them. On this thing, you hit the gas and go around them, you look down, you're doing 110, just on accident. So,
Thank you so much for sharing that story with us.
Appreciate it. All right.
Oh, hey, what's up? We are hard at work in here trying to finish up next week's show. It's two big guys on cars plus one. Who's the plus one? That is our writer. That's John Champion, the champion of comedy.
The champ is here.
Oh, you didn't know? The champ is here. I like it. Yeah, you didn't know that we had writers on this show, did you? Well, we do. And we appreciate John being here. We appreciate the whole team. There's a whole group of people that's behind the scenes that takes care of us as we are putting this show together. They make us look good. They make us sound good. And the presentation is flawless thanks to them. Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this particular episode of the show. And we're looking forward as we work hard on perfecting it. We're working on perfecting it. Did I just say that twice? Yeah. So we want you to join us next week for next week's show. One thing that we are looking forward to, and that's to finish the interview that Thomas started with the Lloyd brothers.
And it's an awesome interview, just phenomenal. A story in which cannot be missed. The second part of this story, you want to be there so you can get the full gist of what these guys are all about and what mission they're on.
Absolutely. So don't miss that. Also, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you will never miss when we put a new video up. Right after this show airs, you'll be able to watch it all over again and tell the people that missed it to go to YouTube and subscribe and watch this particular week's show along with last week's show and all the other episodes before that. You don't know how many we had, you ain't been keeping up. So thank you so much for joining us this time. And until next time, God bless you and thank you so much for your support. I'm Denver Wright, the Wizard.
And I'm the Thrill Thomas Hill.
And who that?
I'm John Champion.
John Champion, yeah.
What's the name of the show?
The name of the show is Two Big Guys on Cars. Yay.